I told you. I warned you. I said this was coming, but you sport bike guys were all like, there's no way Yami would say anything bad about us. He loves us. He's one of us. Well, here we are, and oh boy, in the words of Ilian Storm Rage, you are not prepared. The world of sport bikes is vast and filled to the brim with riders of all shapes and sizes, but I have put on my Wellingtons, put a nose clip on, and delved deep into the septic system that is the interwebs to find the people on sport bikes who rub me the wrong way. Yep, I might be a sport bike simp at heart, but today it's time to separate the wheat from the chaff and go thermonuclear on 7 types of sport bike riders you will meet. Now again, this is usually where I tell you that this is all a big joke and you shouldn't take this video seriously, but if you're getting butthurt here, then you might want to stop drooling on your keyboard. See, I told you were not ready. But seriously, take a chill pill, and if any of this hits a little too close to home, maybe you ought to take a good long look in the mirror. Now, have you looked at your sack lately? No? You probably should. It's a real problem area. Thankfully, Manscaped has you covered. Whew, jeez. All right, guys, as you know, as motorcyclists, sometimes you got some crazy smelling fluids lying around in the shop. Some sort of mixture of gas and oil and crazy stuff that just stinks up the place. But you know what else is stinking up the place? You, with all your gooch juice walking in here. Don't worry, Manscaped has the solution. They've just released a brand new line of body wash, shampoo and conditioner, deodorant, hydrating spray for your body. That's crazy. You don't have to rub it in anymore. That's fantastic. Deodorant and lip balm as well. I know you got crusty lips after riding, and I don't want to see them. Hit the link down below and get yourself 20% off your order, added automatically, and free shipping as well. Get yourself unstinked. Okay, let's start off strong with one we all know and love, or loathe with every fiber of our beings. If your brain hasn't been polished smooth by a lifetime of Monster Energy drink consumption, it's the 186 mile per hour and 600s bro. You'll usually find this rider astride a clapped out Gixxer 600 or ZX6. Why those two? Well, the R6 guy has enough self-respect to not debase themselves publicly, and the CBR 600 rider can't even keep up on last decade's worst 600. Both the Gixxer and ZX6R people share a common goal that is ever out of their reach, yet they won't admit it to themselves because to do so would be to admit failure, and the one thing that would mean the dad was right, and they really aren't going to amount to anything. They go out one evening late at night, neon lights aglow beneath their fairings, and they've found the perfect stretch of road on an abandoned tollway. They wind out the throttle all the way through 6th gear, flat out, and much to their chagrin, their Speedo refuses to climb north out of the mid-150s. It's okay though, the bike is stock and a quick exhaust swap will really open it up. Now they're pulling like 155 miles per hour. Okay, but a tune and a sprocket swap will help, right? Sure, my dude, try those out. Oh, sorry, I guess you're stuck at 159 miles per hour, but hey, throwing those sprockets on there jacked up your Speedo so bad that it just might read 186. You'll know if you're riding with one of these guys in a group ride because they flex harder than anyone else, but when the time comes for them to walk, they're first on the brakes and last on the gas. Next up on the list today belongs with the 186 mile per hour 600 bro in the back of the short bus. It's the I Ride Hard bro. You'll see this guy, and yeah, it's usually a guy, out on your local twisty road with a lap timer on his dashboard, brand new leathers, and a straight-piped Super Sport. Why? Because he rides hard, bro. He's always wide open throttle, bro. Why are you on the brakes, man? Nah, look, you can totally drag knee around that corner. Let me show you, bro. Hold my feeding tube. Sure, maybe this dude actually drags knee, but guess what? No one cares. Literally not one single person except for a 10-year-old on Instagram, maybe. These are the kinds of people that would literally put warmers on their bike before heading out on a Saturday ride in the neighborhood because they need to get their Q3 pluses up to temperature only to come to a full stop at a stop sign at the end of their block and not realize that their tires are now stone cold. Why does this guy ride like this? Well, he spent his 401k on a BMW S1000RR, took a reverse mortgage out on his house to pay for a brand new Dainese suit, pissed a GP helmet, gloves, and boots, and then sold his sperm for an exhaust and tune. The only problem is now he can't afford to do a track day, so he's stuck on the street trying to go fast. But yeah, he's going to be able to post his lap time on a local Facebook group and flex so much. I guess it's worth it. Just go to the track, my dude. It's okay if a little kid on a Ninja 400 humbles you. It happens to all of us. At least then you won't splatter into a mailbox. Whew, let's take a minute and calm down. Things are getting spicier than a ghost pepper. Let's talk about the guy who started on a Ducati Panigale. Yeah, we're all gassed today, people. This bonehead is probably a 30 or 40 something software engineer who's friends with a bunch of other mechanical engineers, venture capitalists, and hedge fund types, and since they print them out of a factory with the same programming, all these people drive flashy cars. Probably Porsches, but that's about the only car you can park in front of a Whole Foods and not worry about it getting dinged. But instead of buying a Porsche, the Ducati starter Googled fancy motorcycle, fast, and oh, would you look at that? Ducati is the first link. I guess they know their audience and their SEO. Anyway, this dude has never taken the MSF course, but when he was a kid, he went to his friend's house and rode a dirt bike one time, so he's all good. What could possibly go wrong? He doesn't test ride the bike, he just knows that the Ducati Panigale V4S is the bike to get because the R is for racing and the S is for street. See, he knows what's up. He signs the paperwork, gets a loan, finances a bunch of Ducati Corsa gear, and has it delivered all to his house the next day, but not before having all of his buddies over so he can flex. He flips the key, pops it in race mode, then goes for one spin around the block. His sphincter immediately tightens hard enough to make a diamond, and he swears never to ride again. He parks the bike, throws it up on Craigslist with the caption, "Don't have time to ride anymore." Sure, bud. We all know you didn't go poopy when you realized what 200 horsepower on a motorcycle is like. Don't worry. But at least the scared Ducati starter guy is willing to admit his mistakes, unlike the super sport daily rider. This person has only ever ridden one kind of motorcycle because everything else is for soft boys who like Ed Sheeran and yoga. This rider started on an RC390 because it had the most aggressive ergo package of the starter bikes, and then moved up to something just a bit more potent like an Aprilia RSV4 factory and never looked back. They go to the office every day on their superbike, doesn't matter if it's 110 degrees or 30 degrees, they're out on the bike. You'll see them going to the store and riding home with a single loaf of bread and a can of Skippy, not because they can't afford real food, but because there's nowhere to put it on the bike. And if you're wondering out there who's putting down tens of thousands of miles on their sport bikes, it's the people who don't know any better. The thing that irks me the most is that they never go to the track. I mean, sure, maybe they've done 1 or 2 track days, but they have to wear their suit in, and they can't bring a gas or a chair to sit in. They decided it's just not worth it. Now, I'd rather take this RSV4 across the country than around a racetrack. That makes sense. Look, guys, this used to be me. I put a ton of miles down on my first Daytona, and that's because I just didn't know any better. Once I realized that you could have 95% of the performance of a Super Sport on the street with a naked bike, I bought one. Yeah, you can still keep your Super Sport, but you don't have to live that life. We've talked a lot about characters who should be going to the track more, but how about one that's already there? I'm thinking the leader bike track day bro. This guy is usually some 40-something-year-old, maybe a little bit older, who's made enough money to finance a drug addiction as financially crippling as a track day habit and wants to get the most out of it. To their brain, that means that they should run out and get a leader bike so they can experience the blistering top-end power safely. They've got a matching race suit, toy hauler that's nicer than most people's apartments, and let's face it, they're probably divorced. They'll roll out their brand new R1M, put it on warmers, and when it's time for them to head out, and they're solidly in the C group. Yeah, they're fast on the track, doesn't do anything complicated like turn left or turn right, but it shouldn't have the audacity to demand a little skill. They're on the brakes and never leave first gear. It's kind of like those top-shelf leader bikes were designed for the top 1% of riders, huh? Man, don't you wish you got something like a 600 or even a 400 or an SV650 so you could learn on instead, and maybe instead of surviving on the leader bike, you'll see one of these guys out on the track every time, and you have my permission to pass them on the outside. They're not on the line anyways. There's 2 left, boys. Who do you think will be joining the rest in the nuclear wasteland? If you guess sport touring riders, you're right. But Yami, those are completely different genre of riders. Then why is there always one of these guys at a sport bike meetup? Why are they always on a red FJR 1300? Why are they always wearing high-vis, and why are they so goddamn slow? Look, if you've decided that sport touring is the life you want to live, that is fine. I don't judge. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to shame you for it. What I will shame you for is inflicting your poor life decisions on the rest of us. I'm not mad because you showed up to a group ride with your Leatherman on your belt and your flip-up helmet and your boom mic hanging out of your face long. I'm mad because you forced your way up to the front of the line because you've been riding forever and you think that it's quantity, not quality, that makes you a good rider. Man, I'm clocking chicken strips so juicy the colonel is coming for you for stealing his recipe. If you insist on showing up to sport bike rides, just go in the back. And then when you're 15 miles an hour slower than everyone else, you're not going to hold everyone else up. Same goes at the track. You'll see this big-ass sport tourers from time to time. They think they're so fast because they're in the B group, but let me tell you something. B group is the fury road of track days. You don't want to be in the B group. At least have the decency to get on the gas a little bit, my dude. Open it up. Go wide open throttle. I swear that FJR has at least 130 horsepower, and you can let yourself have some fun if you allow it. Just be careful. Those hard-ass sport touring tires probably have less grip than a greased watermelon in a pool. Last into the breach, it's the clapped out 250 starter rider. I'm gonna go easy on this rider because they clearly didn't hear of a channel called Yami Noob on YouTube. I mean, that guy makes 7 videos a week and most of them are about beginner bikes. How is this person going to hear about it? Anyway, they've got $1,000 to spend on a motorcycle, and that means they're getting a Ninja 250. In America, they're always worth exactly $1,000. It's kind of like how Turbo Busas are always worth about $13,000. It's just an agreed upon value for these kinds of bikes. It doesn't matter that the Ninja has a bunch of cracks in the fairing, fixed up with zip ties and duct tape, the blinker only works when the high beam is on, and the carbs aren't synced properly. They're gonna get out and ride. Not very far because the gas light doesn't work and they forgot to fill it up last time. They'll learn a lot on their humble 250. Mostly that they want a motorcycle that is actually fast. They'll watch a bunch of videos online and see people doing fat highway pulls on 600s. They'll hear the classic inline 4 soundtrack and see comments saying that a 600 will do 186 miles per hour, and that's the life they want to live. So they'll list their Ninja 250 on Craigslist, get their $1,000 back, and go buy a ZX6R. And just like that, another highway pull 600 boy is born and the cycle repeats. Fact: Nintendo was founded in 1889. Before it sold video games, the Japanese company specialized in playing cards. Goodbye. Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yami Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yami Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yami Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yami Noob.